What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Wolfcrier here, and patch 2.6.7 is now live in Diablo 3. And before we go into the patch notes, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to apologize in advance for any excessive amount of editing in this video. I am in a massive amount of pain, but I still wanted to get this video done and get it up and out to you guys. So without further ado, let's talk about the patch notes for 2.6.7. And it does seem that a lot of these changes that were shown off at BlizzCon 2019 have indeed gone into effect, but there are other changes as well, and let's go ahead and talk about them. First up, it looks like the Pandemonium buff for Season 19 has received a little bit of changes. Now, at 15 kills, the Exploding Chickens seek and destroy. 30 kills, a Wide Frost Nova freezes enemies. 50 kills, corpses rain from the sky. 100 kills, you get that 5 massive energy twisters. And 150 kills, now you get that dark geysers form beneath enemies. And then it goes back to normal with the 200 kills, you get the treasure chests. 300 kills does that ring of fire. 400 kills is that meteor falls from the sky. And at 500 kills, the angels descend upon the battlefield and fight for your cause. But the angels should no longer one-shot Rift Guardians, which is a change that was most likely definitely needed. So that is a little bit of changing for the Pandemonium buff that will go live for seasonal players in Season 19. And overall, I think it's still going to be a pretty fun season and a pretty fun buff. But now let's take a look at some of the sets that have received some changes as well, starting off with that Crusader set, which has been revamped since the PTR. So the new Aegis of Valor set for the Crusader has had some changes all across the board. The 2-piece set bonus, now attacking with Fist of Heavens, empowers you, allowing Heaven's Fury to deal 100% increased damage for 5 seconds, and this can stack up to 3 times. For the 4-piece set bonus, hitting with Fist of Heavens generates 5 Wrath and reduces damage taken by 1% for 5 seconds, and stacks up to 50 times. And that 6-piece set bonus increased the damage of Fist of Heavens and Heaven's Fury by 20,000% now. This set looks like it's going to be the absolute best build for Crusader with that Fist of Heavens and Heaven's Fury, and it should be one of the top builds in the game, in my personal opinion. And the Monk set received some changes as well. I do need to do a little bit more testing. I do not think that it got such a big increase as that Crusader got, but the new Patterns of Justice, the 2-piece set bonus, Sweeping Wind still gains the effect of every rune, but now movement speed is increased by 5% for every stack of Sweeping Wind you have. And now, because of the Vengeful Wind change, you can get up to 13 stacks. So that's a pretty massive amount of movement speed with this build. For the 4-piece set bonus, that's been changed, and now attacking with Tempest Rush reduces your damage taken by 50% and increases spirit regen by 50. That means that as long as you are attacking with Tempest Rush, you are pretty much capped on your spirit. You don't spend it, and you can get back any that you use for any other skills that you're utilizing. So a very strong effect as far as that spirit regeneration goes, and it receives that absolutely necessary damage mitigation that this set really, really needed. And the 6-piece set bonus now has changed, and I don't know how much it's changed because in-game it's a little bit different than the patch notes. For the 6-piece set bonus, according to the patch notes, hitting with Tempest Rush while Sweeping Wind is active will temporarily increase the size of Sweeping Wind after hitting over 30 times within a short period, and Sweeping Wind damage is increased by 15,000%. But here's where things are a little bit different on the live server. The 6-piece set bonus on the live server says that all damage is increased by 15,000%. We'll have to do some fiddling around with this set and see where it goes. I'm not sure which one is the more accurate, whether the UI is just messed up on the tooltip for the set within the game, or if the patch notes just have not been updated yet. But overall, this is a pretty big bump to the set. You also received a bump to Vengeful Wind. It still gets that 10 extra stacks for your Sweeping Wind, but now it increases the damage of Sweeping Wind by 6 to 800% instead of that 200 to 250%. So you got a little bit more of a buff for Sweeping Wind on your Vengeful Wind as well. But they did take out Eye of the Storm, that helmet that gave you 100% increased damage when fighting one enemy. That is gone. That's reverted back to the normal Eye of the Storm with no legendary affix. But there has been one new item added to the item pool for the monk, and that is the new Wan Kim Lao. And now, utilizing this fist weapon, hitting with Tempest Rush will activate Cyclone Strike, and both skills now deal 500 to 600% increased damage. So now you're getting a damage boost to Tempest Rush as well as Cyclone Strike, and while you are navigating through a rift, utilizing that Tempest Rush, you are also sucking all of the enemies towards your character and into your Sweeping Wind. So a very cool change, very unexpected change for the monk with this new fist weapon affix. So we're going to have to see how this actually plays out within the game. Now, the new Darklight Fist of Heavens has a 100% chance to be cast twice, and the additional legendary power increased the damage of Fist of Heavens by 800 to 1,000% instead of that 200 to 250%. So another big damage boost for that Valor set for the Crusader. I really think this is going to be a very strong build. I'm not too sure on the monk yet. We're going to have to play around with it, see how it goes. I think it's still going to underperform unless we can figure something out to increase and buff up its damage just a little bit. Now, Chantoto's Resolve has been scaled down. It is less powerful than it was, but I think it's still going to be rather okay for the Wizards. It's still going to be a pretty strong farming build for both Nephilim Rifts and Greater Rifts up to, GR 100. I think it's still going to do pretty decent. I think it's still going to be able to push a little bit further as well. I think it's probably still going to be at least a GR 118 to 120. I think it's going to be okay, but it did receive a slight nerf with patch 2.6.7. We're going to have to see how everything shapes up for the Wizard with that Chantoto's Archon build. And now let's talk about Barbarian. It does seem that Lamentation nerf has taken effect. Lamentation no longer has that additional legendary power that increases the damage of Rend. So that is gone out of the game. According to the developers, this was scaling way too high. We're going to have to see exactly how well Whirlwind Barbarians do in the upcoming season to actually see whether this nerf was worth it or not. I think I'm still going to try out Barbarian and see what I can do with Whirlwind, but I'm also going to be probably playing Monk and Crusader in Season 19. Hopefully this doesn't nerf the Barbs too much, but I'm unsure, and I'm going to have to wait and see. I think it's actually a little bit more of a nerf than originally suggested, so we'll have to wait and see how that works. But so far, it looks like Seismic Slam is doing pretty amazing as far as in the game on the leaderboards. It is the top build with a GR 127. Now that guy did have 7,000 Paragon, so I don't know how that's going to translate into Season 19, but it looks like it's going to be a very strong build and quite possibly the best build out there for Barbarians. But we still do need to do some testing with the Whirlwind build. For the Wrath of Waste set for Barb, you still get that damage bonus now applies to Rend, and Ambo's Pride still allows Rend to deal all of its damage within 1 second. So we will have to take a look at Whirlwind, and hopefully if it is nerfed heavily, hopefully it can bounce back within the next season or maybe during this season, who knows. But as far as other Barb changes to items, Remorseless has that new legendary power while both Wrath of the Berserker and Call of the Ancients are active. Hammer of the Ancients deals 200 to 250% more damage. Fjord Cutter, Seismic Slam attacks 50% faster and also deals 100 to 150% increased damage against slowed or chilled enemies. And those Bracers of Destruction Seismic Slam deals 400 to 500% increased damage to the first 10 enemies it hits. And Fury of the Ancients, Call of the Ancients gains the effect of the Ancient's Fury rune, and your Ancients attack 100% faster. It looks like Barb did get a pretty hefty nerf when it comes to Whirlwind, but I think that Seismic Slam is still going to be within the top 3 builds in the game. I think that's quite possibly something that could come out of Season 19. With the changes to Seismic Slam, I think Barbs are still in a pretty decent place. It's just with a different build. But like I said, we will have to see how the season plays out, how everything is going with everybody running the different builds once Season 19 actually goes live and everybody's on a level playing field with Paragon, etc. And it also does look like Bone Ringer is keeping that cap of 60 stacks now, which is going to really hurt the Thorns Necro, Rift Guardian Killer in those 4-man groups. And last thing we'll talk about is they did nerf Star Pact Wizard, primarily using the Archon form. They fixed an issue where certain item bonuses, for instance Death Wish, would persist between changing forms from Archon and back, and this is what was giving Star Pact such a massive boost in power, and that is pretty much negated now. But overall, I think that the patch as a whole has some pretty awesome changes. I don't know what to tell the Barbs out there. Hopefully it's not that bad, but I do not know, and I'm not going to even pretend. But keep in mind that changes can occur. So hopefully that does happen for Barbarians. And like I said, Seismic Slam is a pretty beast build. So I would check that out if you're a Barb. And also, don't give up on Whirlwind. Check it out. See how it goes for you. Maybe it's something that you could use for farming GR100s, GR110s, something like that. It should still be okay in that area. It did still get a buff because you still get that added damage bonus to Rend, and you get the Ambo's Pride, so it's still an overall buff from last season, and last season it was still pretty good. It was in the top 10 on the leaderboards. But let me know down in that comment section down below what you think of all these changes for patch 2.6.7. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I want to say that I thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I always greatly appreciate it, and you all have a fantastic day. Peace.